guys? Welcome to Right on Red. Brian McKenzie here. A quick episode here while I'm driving. You can't tell I'm driving because I got a green screen. But I just wanted to touch on our city of Rochester here. Rochester, New York. We're a mid-sized city. We're not tiny. We're not big. We have about 205,000 people in the city itself, and about 1 million people in Greater Rochester, surrounding suburbs. But we hold the distinction of the 2021 murder capital of the world per capita. We had 81 murders in a small city like ours. 81, for example, Lexington, Kentucky. They think they're getting really bad over there. Well, they got 350,000 people, and they've had, I want to say 31 murders. Boise, Idaho has 240,000 people. They had 6 murders. All right, all of last year. So we were at 28 and 29 in 2018 and 2019. So we weren't that high. We were, mid-range there. Then in 2020, when all these stupid laws took effect, guess what happens? We ended up going from 29 to 57. Then we decided we want to go for the record. We hit 81. I always use the comparison to help you understand. Austin, Texas also hit 81 that year for a record, for their record, to break their murder record, which is a record you don't want to break, by the way, just saying. And, they were like, oh, they're going crazy. We had 81 murders here. Well, Austin, Texas has 1 million people, okay? 1 million. That's 5 times the size of our city. If at that rate per capita, we would be at about 400 murders, over 400 murders. So we also had 400-something shootings that year in 2021, and we had more than that, I believe, last year, and 77 murders. So we are a pretty violent city, right? But it's just getting ridiculous now. The crimes, the murders are there still, of course, because of the stupid laws, and that's what's happening. We're finding, these people who murder someone, it's not their first crime. They don't just show up and murder someone. No, they've been caught with an illegal gun 5 times. They've been released, or they're on, the stupid new parole laws where they don't have to ever check in, or if they violate parole, it's no big deal. Boom, and then they kill somebody because, the laws were there for a reason. If you can't live as a productive member of society and you break even the smallest of laws when you're on parole, you should go back to prison. That's right. Now, if you're late curfew a few minutes one time, I'm not saying you go back, but if you're late 12 times, or if you're caught with an illegal gun, or if you are beating someone up, or you're out there getting drunk at 2 a.m. and missing curfew, yes, you should go back to prison because you obviously didn't learn anything. And it had no effect on you. Now, the new law that's really cranking up and really setting this city on fire is the Raise the Age law, which allows juveniles up to 18 years old just to do anything they want, essentially. And I'm not kidding about that. They get arrested, they go home immediately to their parents, and that goes to family court. It doesn't go to criminal court, it goes to family court. They don't get anything. The incarceration rate is ridiculously low, not because of our DA. We have a great DA. But the sheriff pointed out a couple weeks ago that there was 65 cars stolen in a single, I think it was a 3-day span. And they apprehended 65 kids in a 3-day span for stealing cars. 15 of them were reapprehended within a week. What does that tell you? They don't care because they're going home. And you know what? Maybe we should start holding the parents accountable. What do you think about that? Because the parents obviously aren't doing their job when a 13-year-old, yes, a 13-year-old is caught stealing a car, running from police, and putting it and getting out with it still in drive so it rolls into a police cruiser. And then he runs. A 13-year-old. The same day, 2 14-year-old girls, or a 13-year-old and 14-year-old girl, caught at the high school, one of the high schools, going through cars. People's businesses are getting completely crushed. One business, it's a metal fabricating company on Mount Reed Boulevard. They had a Jeep stolen from their lot by kids in a van, young kids, they said. Then they had a vandalism event like 2 days later. And then in the same week, they had another car stolen and a bunch of cars broken into. He said, we can't live like this. We're a company, small company trying to survive, and we can't have our employees' cars broken into all the time. What do? Can police patrol the area? And no, the police can't, unfortunately, like put extra patrol. We don't have enough to do that. And they're not security. I mean, now that small company has to dip into the few profit. They probably don't make ridiculous profits. They're not some huge business pumping out products. Now they have to dip into their profits in order to hire a security guard, right? It sucks. Or multiple security guard even. I noticed at the Gates Home Depot the other day when I was there. I'm there almost every day, but when I was there, that they hired an actual security guard, armed security. So, I mean, he was standing behind the self registers, and he's standing back there, big smile on his face. He wasn't angry. He probably like 65 years old. Probably a retired police officer, my guess. But it was nice. It was deterring. I saw a kid walk in with a book bag looking scuzzy. I'm sorry. You're not supposed to judge, but I'm judging. Because this kid was coming in to steal. There's no doubt about it. He didn't have the look of, I'm a contractor or a homeowner. He saw the security guard, walked out the other door, walked right over and walked out the other door. So I'm telling you right now, it works. It's a deterrent, right? But the biggest thing is to raise the age. These laws, until laws matter and parents care, should I say parent, over 70% of the kids in our city have a one parent home, and usually it's a father that's gone. Well, how can this next generation in the urban communities, especially in Rochester, New York, because that's what I care about, because that's what I live right here, and how can they succeed? How can they have, how can they access the opportunity that exists? They can't, and they won't. They can, but they won't, because their parents don't even care if they do. And the kids are just going to do this over and over until, guess what? They are 18 and they do get caught and they do have a felony on their record. Now what are they going to do with their life? Nothing. Most kids that are stealing cars at a young age, they're not going to turn around. They could if there was actual, mentorships that actually worked, where you had a father figure in your life, and the Democrats that control Rochester, New York, actually recognize that that's the root problem, that we need to promote fathers in the home and not just say, that's white culture. That's not bullshit, it's white culture. It's called real culture. And now I'm not saying every kid who has a mother and no father is gonna fail. That's not true. But 70% of them do. And I'm sorry, 90% of them do. 70% of them in the Rochester area have that. But situation going on. 90% of people who come from a one-parent home, especially with a mother, and they're a male, they're boys. Girls tend to do a little bit better. Boys have over 90% chance of failing in life in almost every area. They have a 10 times a better chance of dropping out of school. They're 10 times more likely to own a gun, illegal gun. They're 10 times more likely to be kicked out of school. They're 100 times more likely to join a gang. They're 100 times more likely to shoot the gun and get in trouble for it, get caught with the gun. They're 100 times more likely to murder someone, and they're 200 times more likely to be murdered themselves. What do you think about those statistics right there? I can just pull them out my butt. I had to find them, and they exist. Look them up. They are ridiculous. I mean, it's such a difference between having two parents that care and having one parent that tries. But some of them don't even try, and that makes it even worse. But even the ones that try, they if you don't have both parents, it's really tough. And that makes the kid have almost 100 times better chance of entering the criminal justice system. And once you're in the criminal justice system, it's hard to get out of it. Let's be honest. You look for a father, you find a father, it is what it is. But let's get back to okay, that's great. We need to do something about that in the future. We need to think about it like DeSantis and Tony Dungy did in Florida. But right now we need to stop the ridiculous amounts of cars being stolen. There was hundreds stolen last week. Ridiculous. They're all Kia and Hyundai for the most part. Jeeps get stolen a little bit too. But we had over 2,000 cars stolen already this year, which is almost 800 more than last year. So we need to do something. What do we do? I don't know. I'll be right back. guys, I'm back. So, we just got done talking about fatherless homes, one-parent homes, whatever you want to call them, how 70% of our city. I was getting a little worked up because the left is so obsessed with root causes, and we know the root cause of this. We know it. We absolutely have it. Yet, the left wants to be the party that cares about minorities. They care. Name one thing they've done for any of them besides divide us all and get them mad and tell them to go out there and have signs in their hands. When I say jump, you jump. And people are getting sick of it, which is why you're seeing the flood of Latinos and blacks and even gays and trans community come to the right. Like Caitlyn Jenner said about the trans community, what you're seeing out there doesn't represent the community. It represents the loudest part of the trans community, but not the biggest. You can see on YouTube, #walkaway, a gay man who used to watch CNN and saw some really interesting things where they were cropping out black people from the Trump's rallies. And so he dug a little deeper and found a lot of lies that the left has told and a lot of nonsense. And he started a #walkaway, which has hundreds of thousands of followers. You saw the Latino community. They elected a Republican mayor in Miami for the first time, I think, ever. DeSantis won the Latino vote. So did Marco Rubio. Why? Because their values line up with conservative values when they actually look. Why? Because the left has lied to them. They've been liars. They've divided us. They've done all this nonsense where, they've turned cities into absolute vile, dangerous hellholes. And then they say, they're not that bad. They're just making it look like that. No, we're not. If you're a law-abiding black person in one of these cities, you don't want the police defunded. No, those are the rich suburban white ladies and college kids who have nothing better to do. Defund the police. Yeah, because you don't need them, right? No, if you're living in the city, you're a minority or a white person, it doesn't matter. You're living in that city in one of those areas where crime and violent crime is high. Dude, you need the police. And better yet, you don't need criminals getting out. After, police come over, did you see what happened? Well, yeah, I saw what happened. And then the guy's out in an hour. And you're getting shot at. No, you can't expect people to be witnesses when people are out in an hour and back in the, right across the street from you. It's ridiculous. These laws in New York are just insane. And now like I said, we've had over 2,000 cars stolen here in Rochester. Now, these kids, getting back to the kids, what is going on? They're all young kids, and we know what's going on. It's the law. They've played us. They play the game. It's not going to make kids better. They're going to be better off in the long run. No, they're going to be worse off. They're going to be worse off, people. How can the Democrats not see this by now? There's no such thing as mass incarceration. There's just incarceration. There's no such thing as, some systemic racism that's leading to more black people being in prison. No. It is called inner cities have more black people and more Hispanic people than white people. And that's where the poverty is. That's where the crime is. Guess what? You want to do something about it? Do something about it for real. Don't just release people from jail and change the law so crime goes up. How about we fix the education system, fix fatherless homes? We allow school choice. We, focus on things that matter, not just abortion and all this nonsense that for some reason, they're so focused on. Climate, racism, transgender, transphobia. It's insane. It's literally insane. This is why you see the attack ads from the left on TV. Because they can't boast any accomplishments, and their agenda is so unpopular in reality when people actually see it. So they have to attack. So why don't, if you care about people and if you care about, underprivileged communities and all that, then do something about it. And they don't care about, they try to separate everything by race, but they don't care about that race. Because if they cared about, quote unquote, the black community, they wouldn't allow someone to dress in a monkey suit and throw eggs at Larry Elder because he's a Republican. They wouldn't let people attack Byron Donalds because he's a Republican. If they're black and a Republican, they just trash him like they would any white guy. So they don't care about the black community. All they care about is people who think like them and vote with them. That's it. That's it. Bottom line, that's it. I don't want to hear they care about transgenders. No, they do not. Because why did they look at Caitlyn Jenner, wins Times Person of the Year 3 years ago, and now she's an enemy of the state? Because she's a Republican, right? Oh my, so tell me again how they care about transgenders. They care about people who speak the language, who recite the narrative, who stick to the rules and abide by the king. That's all they care about. And they're going to keep kids out there committing crimes because it benefits their vote. The more people they keep poor, the more people they keep in the city, the more criminals they keep on the streets, the more votes they're going to get, believe it or not, which is ridiculously stupid because it just doesn't make sense. But again, I'm challenging Republicans to get out there and tell people this. Explain to people in the city, this is this, this is this. We're not for crime. They're for crime. They're putting the crime. They don't, just because you enact the law and pass a bill that says for racial justice, but really it's just for criminals. It's not for black people. It's for criminals. Those laws don't do anything for black people or Latino people. They only help and affect criminals in a positive way. For everyone else, it's negative, especially black people in the city, especially Latinos in the city. It crushes those communities. Look at those communities. A 2-year-old car, a bullet just misses them, goes into the car and hits the mom. Now, luckily, she's going to be okay, I believe. A 1-year-old, or a 3-month-old, I think it was, stolen at the House of Mercy. The father grabs it from the mother by the arm and runs, gets hit by a boxcar. The kid goes flying. The kid's beat up, fractured skull, might not make it. He's in the hospital fighting for his life. What the F is going on around here? When parents don't care, kids don't care. When laws don't matter, laws don't matter. Bottom line. And if more people would see this has all been due to Democratic policies, and it's very explainable. You know how to explain it. You know which policies are which. Talk to people. Before the 2024 election, more people need to know. People in the cities, people that you just talk to in general, they need to know the truth and the facts because the facts matter. And just because every other station, even Fox does sometimes, hides all the facts, doesn't mean they don't exist. Laws enacted under the guise of racial justice are actually only for criminals, which is racist as hell because they must think all black people are criminals in the way they talk. This is for the black community. No, it's not. It's for criminals. It lets criminals out earlier. It raises the age for criminals, not for regular kids. A kid going to school, doing his work and trying to be something in life, like playing sports and caring, has parents that care about him. He doesn't care if you raise the age of prosecuting kids for crimes. He doesn't care because he's not going to be arrested. Okay, he's not. It's just that simple. Police aren't going to go pick on him. No, he's not going to be arrested. A law-abiding citizen doesn't care that you get out if you have a illegal gun. If you're caught with an illegal gun as many times as you want, you get out. You don't have to go out and they can't set a bail on you. You get right out, no bail. Law-abiding citizens don't care. They only care because the person's going to be back in their community and buy another gun. Confiscate all the guns you want. Doesn't matter because the person's still out. Law-abiding citizens don't care that parole's easy because they're not on parole. So don't say it's for the black community. It's for criminals. We as conservatives and we as people on the right need to talk to people because these are facts. We win this argument 100 times out of 100 times. I want to talk more about that in these episodes of what to say, what to talk about, because we need to talk. Nobody else is going to do it for us. If they don't want to listen, fine, but some of them do. Some people do want to listen. I'm not talking about hardcore liberals. I'm talking about independents, people who will listen. We need to talk more. We got the facts. Let's talk more. Let's tell people the truth. Let them hear it. Let them recite it. Let them spread it. Maybe we'll win these elections because we should, because our agenda is so much more competent and better than the left's. I'll see you next episode. Find me in my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Like. Share. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.